This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
The views expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of WPSL. However, you are encouraged to like and share them on Facebook. It's time now for Issues and Answers in St. Lucie County. From the School Development Board, here is your host, Mark Gotz.
Good evening to the show. On this show, we like to examine different issues that affect our community and have open discussions with guests on these issues. So our format, which I went over last week and will again this evening, is that the first half hour, we will discuss a subject or subjects with our invited guests. The second half hour will be open to call-in questions on issues that you feel need answers. The phone number for the call-in is 772-340-1590. Tonight we're going to look at an issue here in St. Lucie County about small businesses and how important are small businesses to local economies. While small businesses may not generate as much money as large corporations, they are a critical component of and a major contributor to the strength of local economies. Small businesses present new employment opportunities and serve as the building blocks of the United States' largest corporations. A small business is defined as a business, corporation, or limited liability company or sole proprietorship with 500 employees or less. According to the U.S. Small Business Administration, small businesses represent 99.7% of all employer firms. Since 1995, small businesses have generated 64% of new jobs and paid 44% of the total United States private payroll, according to the SBA. Small businesses contribute to local economies by bringing growth and innovation to the community in which the business is established. Small businesses also help stimulate economic growth by providing employment opportunities to people who may not be employable by large corporations. Small businesses tend to attract talent who invent new products or implement new solutions for existing ideas. Larger businesses also often benefit from small businesses within the same local community, as many large corporations depend on small businesses for the completion of various business functions through outsourcing. Tonight we're very fortunate to have someone who is involved extensively with small businesses in our community, an entity that creates opportunities for small businesses. I am proud to introduce Mike Malady, who operates the Opportunity Network. Good evening, Mike.
Good evening. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. So to get things started, tell me and our listeners about the Opportunity Network.
The network is a very, very simple, complex animal. We are about our members picking up jobs all over the place, or at least meeting or getting in front of people that they can work with. So we spend probably 90% of our time connecting them, handling networking meetings, that type of thing, making them feel comfortable to be in front of somebody else. So our largest one of group within the framework of the 2,000 that are the network is 100 plus members now. So it's a tough breakfast, to say the least, but it works. eat fast, keep talking, and hug everybody. You know, it's kind of something like that. So that's our big deal.
Now, how long have you been doing this?
This is our 9th year.
9 years.
Yeah, 9 years. Almost all the same members. So that's kind of nice when they stay with you long enough to argue with you. It's kind of like marriage.
That is interesting, because usually people come and go in the different groups that they join.
Yeah.
They'll join for a while and then fall off. But
Right.
To have a core group for that long is pretty interesting.
Yeah, we get about 10% turnover a year. It's really not much in the overall scheme of things, and some people just come back. So it's nice. We're happy.
So overall, I see that you put the business together so that they can kind of integrate in between themselves and exchange help as they need, according to what I spoke of earlier. So how do you assist those small businesses? I mean, how does the network work? How does it work when you get them all together and they're in a room. Explain to me what goes on. What's the synergy?
Well, the key is that everybody individually is looking out for their own business, of course. But within that framework, we're about everybody else's business. So as I tell them when they first come in, your job is to help everybody else. Their job is to help you. So that's the concept. It seems to work well in about 90% of the cases. The other 10% don't get it until they do. And then when it kicks in, they go, wow, this is neat. I got friends. I got stuff going on. It's good.
Terrific. So now, if you would like to get on the network, and you say that there are over 2,000 small businesses currently on the network,
Yes.
how do you get on?
Head to opnetwork, And why was it a .info? We could have paid more for something that was really a basic need. We needed a place for people to list their information so that the other members could find them. So what we do is we imprint all of their info on the website so you can find who you're looking for. Works out well.
Interesting. So then basically there's a database for businesses to look up different sources if I needed somebody to do my air conditioning, if I need an AC repair.
Yep.
I would be able to go to the network and then go on and see what members you have that are in that particular field.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the least of what we're good at. We're probably better at, hey, somebody's in the list, go see this person. So it becomes more of a personal referral thing than just looking it up, because just because you have somebody that does AC doesn't mean they do the refrigeration needs if you're a restaurant, whatever. So we didn't break it down into minuscule, because even the guy that does that work gets slow one day and he needs the other work. So our thing is to explain to the members how we do what we do and who they need to connect with. So it's not easy, but it's pretty simple. You go, if that didn't work, let me get to one of the organizers. We have about 15 or 20 organizers now, and they're out there hawking business events where people should be. So that goes on to our networking calendar, and through that process we come up with many more members, because they go, why are you here? What are you looking for? And all of a sudden we have a new buddy in business. It works out well. It's good stuff.
Now, how many events a year does the Opportunity Network have?
At last count on the network calendar, I think there were about 400 events right now. So that would span months of time, but once again, there's thousands of events every year. So we're just about you. So if you're looking for work, we have places for you to talk to people. Good stuff.
Now, when you have your meetings, how often do you have meetings of your group?
Well, part of the meetings are our meetings that we administrate. That's the small part. The large part is everything else that we can get our members into, where they can become part of what goes on, be it chamber meetings or whatever. You'll find all that on the calendar. You won't find everything, but you'll find, I'd say 85% of what's out there in the marketplace here on the Treasure Coast. We're about you.
What was the last large event? I think you just did one a couple of months ago, didn't you?
We administrate the Real Estate Expo, so that comes up every January. That we just, I think, finished our third year of doing that, and knock on wood, we've been full every year. So this year we took pretty much the entire Civic Center. We're the second largest event, I think, according to Mr. Tim Fuller over there. We were just passed by Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz did thousands more than us, but he has a different market than us, so it is what it is. There's always something fun to do over there.
So when you do have your meetings, where do you have your meetings?
That's a good question. We've had to move a lot of what we do. Like we said, we use the Civic Center for the biggest one, and then sometimes part of the Civic Center, sometimes Tradition Town Hall, which is a great venue. We do a lot of that. We outgrew the PGA a couple of times, so it looks like we may be back in the PGA and to their largest room as soon as they're remodeled. So we're blessed.
So you have the large meetings, and then I believe you have, is it weekly or monthly meetings where you have those breakfasts you were talking about?
Yeah, we have breakfast, lunches, not so much dinners, because business people want to be able to go home.
Well, it seems like the phones are lighting up this evening, so we'll jump into it a little early. We've got Michael on line 1 from Port St. Lucie. Michael, go ahead.
Hello, it's Michael, right?
Yes.
Michael and Michael. I have a question. So I have a small business here locally, and I've been at a few of these network marketing kind of groups. Can you explain exactly what's the advantage of your group versus some of them seem like just a social network, which, it's okay to get to know people and such, but as a small business owner with these types of things, I think what I'm looking for is something a little more impactful. I mean, a way to spread the good news about my company and what I do, and whether or not that, like I said, and to build those relationships, that's a very important part of it. How is your network different?
I think what makes ours slightly different and not largely different is that we kind of rank them according to whether they're camaraderie meetings. I think the meetings that are probably the most disinteresting to you are ones that are camaraderie. Look at me, look at my new pants, look at my new dress. You're looking for pure business, let's make some money. And the bulk of our meetings are let's make money meetings.
And for example, within your groups, do you have multiple people in the same disciplines, or is it pretty exclusive, or how does that work?
I didn't catch that. Could you repeat that?
Oh, I'm sorry. Within your group, do you have people from the same disciplines, all or several air conditioning people, or there's just one type of discipline per group, or how do you guys do it?
We actually have both. Like I said, there's about 400 events on the calendar right now, so you could kind of take your pick of what goes on out there. Remember, part of being in Florida is a geographic issue too. So we advertise events from Sebastian to Palm Beach Gardens. So,
I see.
and we think that that's a place that people would drive to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, I was told about your group from a colleague, and I'm definitely going to have to check out a meeting. He's actually done very well with you all. I guess he's been in for about a year or so, and been trying to drag me along. I think I might just let him do it next time.
Yeah, I think you'll have a lot of fun, especially if you've been in your business for a little while and you've got a command of it. You're going to meet people. You're going to have fun. Love to talk to you.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate the phone call.
I look forward to meeting you.
You got it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we have another call. We have Scott on line 2. Scott, I see you're on the turnpike, so hopefully we'll be able to keep you in between. You won't get in between cells on us.
Okay.
You have a question from Mr. Malady?
No, I don't have a question for him. I can just talk to him a little bit. He's actually a good friend of mine.
You need to talk into the phone, though, because the speakerphone doesn't pick up well on the air. Can you pick up the phone by chance?
The handset?
What's that?
Yeah. Can you pick up the handset, because you're on the speaker, which is a little difficult coming in.
Okay, hang on 1 second.
Just drive carefully, though. We don't want any accidents on this show.
Is that any better?
That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
excellent.
Thank you, Scott.
Wow.
No, I can't hear you, though.
By the way, Scott is one of the rock stars of the network. He's our timekeeper for our meeting at Tradition Town Hall, and he just fills in good stuff in the room, helps out. Just a very involved player and runs an awesome business. He's an AC guy. What's the name of your company, Scott?
AC Advantage.
Bingo. I just sent you a semi-huge referral, about $4,000. Went through one of our insurance guys. So I don't know if he told you that we sent it, but that's how that one happened. I'm not sure it went
Fantastic.
to. He did.
What referral is that? I get so many of them.
Gotta love it. We'll find out. We ask Mr. Matt.
We're getting. I got 3 people answering phones right now.
Isn't that great? Great, 3
It's
people
fantastic.
answering phones.
So, are you on the radio show right now?
Yeah, I'm
What's
on the
going
radio show right now. I'm watching Cliff hand point and signal to me because I'm screwing up big time here.
Cliff is explaining to us, Scott,
Mike,
that we
good
need
to
to go to a break.
This is easy going.
We appreciate the phone call, and best of luck with your business.
We love you, buddy. Thank you.
All right, I'll talk to you later on.
You got it.
Well, you're listening to Issues and Answers in St. Lucie County with Mark Gotz and, of course, his guests. And we'll be right back with more.
No, that's fine.
If as a woman you believe that you can accomplish all that a man can accomplish and more without the help of the government, you just might be a Republican. If you believe that you should have a say in your child's education and that you should have a choice as to where your child is educated, you just might be a Republican. To learn more, go to stluciegop.org and click on Being a Republican. The Republican Party of St. Lucie invites you to meet your Republican candidates on Saturday, August 11th from noon till 4 p.m. at the Port St. Lucie Civic Center. Candidates from the school board to U.S. Congress and in between will be on hand. Come ask questions and get answers. No spin, no fake news, just you and the candidates. Get informed, be informed, vote informed. For more information, go to stluciegop.org. Paid for by the Republican Party of St. Lucie, not connected with any specific candidate.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
We now return to Issues and Answers in St. Lucie County. Once again, here's your host, Mark Gotz.
Welcome back to the show. We're fortunate to have Mike Malady of the Opportunity Network. In fact, when I was talking to Mike earlier today, I said, I'm going to introduce you as a small business entity that creates opportunities for small businesses. And then he explained to me that he has over 2,000 members. And if you caught the first portion of the show, you know that small business is 500 or less. So I stand corrected. So after hearing from Scott, Mike, is this a normal type of feedback that you get from your members? I mean, it sounds like that you really work the businesses where they're not necessarily competing, but really kind of sharing, almost like they did in the shopping centers years ago. You look at a mall, you go in there and you'll see that you've got 25 women's clothing stores. And the reason all the main brands go into those types of situations is that they like to shop. And so the retailers go there because they want to share that particular customer as much as possible with everybody. And it sounds like the Opportunity Network does something similar to that. So can you give me a little feedback on that?
Yeah, we're totally a shared entity. We're about sharing everything after we get paid. So the bottom line is, if we do a deal with a customer, sure, we'll work with you and that customer and get you involved as well if it's a benefit to them. If it's good for the customer, it's good for all of us, and that's all we really worry about. We just make sure the customers are happy. Old-fashioned but true. It works.
Yes, I know that you've got people who, I mean, you go across a large cross-section of businesses. I think I've seen people that have anywhere from insurance to internet help to technological help. I know I've used a couple of the members for Facebook and other internet conversations and businesses back and forth that I'm in, and yet I know nothing about the internet. So I found them to be very helpful in the past. So if I'm an outsider and I'm not in the network, is there any way that I can utilize some of the people that you have in the network?
Yeah, absolutely. The full information is on the network website, even though there's a couple of tools that the random user doesn't get to see. They can get to all of the organizers, and the organizers will help them find somebody to get their job done. That's it. It's very, very simple, very basic, and very forgiving. So we don't give anybody a hard time. We just take care of you. However, there's some goofballs that we want to send away from time to time, but for the most part, we don't.
You mean sometimes the customer is the problem?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes, and the businesses are, they range from wonderfully involved, caring people to semi-goofball, I'm all about me. And usually the all about me people go away very, very soon, and they find out that it's not that they're not welcome, it's just that they don't leave any room for anybody else. If you're a pay it forward kind of person, as we would call it, you get along very, very well all the time, and you give the other person an opportunity to speak and share some information. And isn't that why we got married? We got married. We may not talk to our wife, but when we do talk to them, it's usually a back and forth thing. We like that.
Well, I know that this particular show is about issues. So I've got to ask the question, what type of issues do your members have? What kind of feedback have you gotten? Have they got any issues either with the government or cost of doing business or anything like that you'd care to discuss or open up tonight?
I think for the most part, they run into the same problems that most businesses do. Cash flow. Can I get the particular elements of the job that I'm working? Can I get the supplies that I need? But over and above that, in terms of this area, business is great for most people. Certainly if you're in a service business. We're loving this economy. It's great.
Are they able to find workers? Because I know that there is a great need. Labor is at a very shortage out there, and especially when you get into the trades. This is something that has been discussed a lot about bringing a vocational school here to St. Lucie County to have it train our young people as they come out of high school in HVAC, electric, plumbing, basic construction that would allow them to get jobs. Are your people ever talking about the labor shortage?
Totally. In fact, ironically, my son works for Gale Insulation. He's a salesman. He's not an installer. Gale's having huge problems getting quality installers, and they will train them. So if someone needs a job, please get back to me. We'll funnel your information over there. They're looking for a ton of installers. Almost everything relates to new home sales, which just goes to show you where the economy is going here on the Treasure Coast. It's just amazing. My son comes over in the evening and he talks to me about what's going on, and I'm just stunned at all the new developments that are out there and all the new opportunities that are out there. So when I called him today, I said, why don't you send me a little testimonial about the network? Typically, you wouldn't belong to a networking group if you're an insulation salesman. It typically would not work for you. You'd go, hold on a second, I'm not finding any builders in there or anybody else. But I can tell you this, between our organization and the Treasure Coast Builders, which are also phenomenal, they'll take you to where you need to go in terms of making money in the building trade. So I'm not a big member, but I'm a big cheerleader for their group and our group, and I'm a member of their group. They're a member of mine. So I talked to Malady today, so she's got the same thing going on. You're trying to get the qualified people out there and get it done is the big deal right now.
Well, and I was involved with a group over on the West Coast that did actually a charter school and combined it with workforce development over there. It was the Southwest Florida Workforce Development Group that was basically educating students during the first 4 hours and then training them in the trades, air conditioning, electric, and plumbing, for the next 4 hours. It was it's a great concept. I know that we've talked about vocational schools, and there are different avenues that we could open them up in, and I think it would be very important, especially for the TCBA, with their builders who need that labor force, to be involved in creating something like this, so that when these students are trained, or apprentices, for lack of a better word, are trained, they're trained properly in what the contractor is looking for to do, that they have the basic skills of making the contractor money, for lack of a better word.
Amen.
Because he doesn't want to have to follow around, because if they don't work out, obviously he needs to go to the next person. But if they're trained properly, and I think that the builders can give us the basics of what they need.
Just got a text back from Scott Kammeyer, AC Advantage, also looking for help. So he said, geez, I didn't get to get that out on the air because somebody cut me off. Who was that, Cliff?
That was Cliff. Cliff does that to us, because he runs the show. Actually, we're just puppets here. He's got all the strings.
But yeah, no, labor's huge. Some of these guys, like in Scott's case, I'll talk to him at like 10 o'clock at night, and he's not done yet. Sometimes he works completely around the clock because he's got so much going on. So once again, there's a lot of opportunity out there for, especially not for young or old, but somebody that wants to get ahead and can do the work. There's huge opportunities out there. I think there's huge opportunity for women too. Step up and become an AC contractor or whatever. So there's all kinds of things that can be done. We can make this happen on the Treasure Coast. We can be the hub of it. It can be us.
One of the biggest things that obviously goes on in the Treasure Coast is our billing. I mean, houses, commercial. City of Port St. Lucie is up in permits. The county is up in permits this year. There's a lot of action going on in this county, and I believe our unemployment rate now is down to about 4% in the county.
It's really low.
Which means, we get a really low situation. So if there's anybody out there that would like to get a job, you want to give them your phone number, or how would you suggest that they contact you? Because if you've got so many people, so many businesses, 2,000 businesses, with probably the majority of them looking for labor, I'm beginning to feel that this is becoming a workforce development show.
Well, yeah, and once again, they need to be involved. When I talked to Malady today, she said that that's a way to go. Definitely get in touch with them, get some things going. And we have a group here, and I apologize, I'm not remembering the name. Treasure Coast whatever, but I'll get the info for you. If you want to send me a text or an email, my text phone number or cell phone number is 772-209-2300, or you can email me direct. These are bicycle brands, so don't think I'm being strange or weird, but it's Trek, TREK, SPEC, spec, trekspec@gmail.com, or go to the Opportunity Network online, opnetwork.info. Get the info and send something over to me. I'm good at funneling things so you get answers. I'm not really good at gathering all of the answers with that many people and no staff. You can imagine how crazy my phone gets some days, but I am interested in helping you. So let's see if we can do something for you. Remember, we got organizers that can get involved, so we can do things.
Super. I'd like to remind our listeners that we are open for calls. The phone number is 772-340-1590, and we are taking calls tonight. We're with Mike Malady of the Opportunities Network. I'm not quite sure where we go from here. We've covered just about everything. Is there anything you think we've missed?
Well, we have time, so I have testimonials.
All right.
So I had some of the people text me their testimonial, and these are completely unedited, so I don't know exactly, and sometimes paraphrased for lack of time. But this one came from Donald Curry. Donald and her husband own a church, Christ Family Church, and they own Tradition Town Hall. So they know the Opportunity Network well. We hold a lot of our meetings at their facility, and it says, our school has been able to make great relationships within the community. Our students have been able to volunteer and participate in various expos in order to give back through the Opportunity Network. We actually had our kids video a whole group of nonprofits. We donated space to them at the real estate expo. So all of our kids did really cool stuff for us. It was very good. Larry Jennings. Larry ran for office way back in the day, and Larry is known locally as Solar Man. He said it's just a great place to meet people and get friends. So Larry's just a rock star with us. So we have that. Do we have time for some more, Cliff? Or are we off? We on?
Yeah, we're on. We're just waiting on that next call to be screened.
I'm a little slow.
Screening and call. Okay, so we'll have Carol will be bringing it in shortly. I'm sure she's our screener.
Good. We have. Hang on one second. We have Lisa Sosby, local author. She wrote a children's book. She's doing great stuff directly in direct sales and also on Amazon. She does a lot of things. James Taylor, J.A. Roofing? Mm-hmm. J.A. Roofing? Yeah, good guy.
Okay, good. So it looks like we have a do over here. Scott, are you still driving?
I am still driving, yes, absolutely.
Well, we're glad to have you. Go ahead. You must have something else you want to discuss.
Well, I mean, I know that you guys are basically talking all about the Opportunity Network and networking in general. And one of the ways I started my business 12 years ago doing just that, networking. I really do very, very little of advertising. Networking is by far produced more than any other stream of for me getting work. So it's for people that's looking for work, people that are new business owners. It's just a phenomenal way to get your name out there and actually find a lot of friends as well. Amen. Right there, Mike?
Yeah, absolutely, buddy. You got it.
And I can tell you with Mac, who's Mike's son, I had him over at my house, and he did a great job with the insulation. I got a lot of hurricane damage, so I was able to use quite a few people throughout the Opportunity Network and got my house fixed up very nicely.
Scott, I have a
And they were
question for
Johnny
you.
on the spot. Shoot.
You say you started in business 12 years ago.
Right.
What made you start your own business?
Well, there were a number of different things in order for... I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to be able to have an investment. And hopefully at some point in time, and I didn't know this at the time, but I wanted to call my own vacation time, sick time. So there was a multitude of different things that went into the decision to get out on my own. I knew that it was going to be a lot of work and a big risk, but I think that as long as you do a good job and you show up and you do what you say you're going to do for the price you say you're going to do it for, and you stand behind your work, then you'll succeed. And that's what we've done so far. So as far as getting out, on my own, I love it right now. So I think I've got 15 people and 8 trucks out on the road, and we're still looking for more. I've added 4 trucks this year alone.
Well, if you started 12 years ago, you started just before the Great Recession, which means that
You
you
got
were
it.
able to survive through some very, very tough times
Absolutely.
here in St.
That's
Lucie
right.
County. So I congratulate you on that.
Thank you very much, Cliff.
I always love asking people why they started in business or how they got started in business. I'm assuming you were in the trade previous to going into the business?
Yeah, I've actually been in the HVAC industry since 1978, so a little while ago.
A little
Matter
while.
of fact, I was on your show with the Chamber of Commerce. It was part of that package, but I was on your show, and I brought on somebody that you may know that you and he kind of hit it off, I guess, and he started his own show, which was Tom Platania.
Yep, for sure.
He had Comfort. Oh, I forget the name of his show now.
Cliff, do you remember the name of the show?
Comfort.
Cliff is a
Time
historian
Live.
here. What was it?
Comfort Time Live.
Comfort Time
Comfort
Live.
Time Live.
There you
That's
go,
it,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I think I met you through that whole thing, Scott. That was back in the day, and Scott shows up at a local trade summit at the Civic Center, and he brings Tom right to my booth. So it was so cool. So I got to meet Tom. I had talked to him a couple of times. Cool guy.
Yeah,
But
he's a
Scott's
great
the
guy.
connector. Scott's the connector. Consummate.
No, Mike, you are the rock star of connectors. You're the man. So,
Thank you so much.
And I hear you guys. You're talking about it. While I was just waiting on the phone, I can't hear the radio show. So, but I do hear you guys about paying it forward, and that's the key. I mean, I actually have friends that are in the Opportunity Network who's also in the air conditioning business, and I give him work.
Isn't that awesome?
And there's no animosity there. There's no problem. If I need a hand on a job, I call him up. If I want to take some of my employees out, and maybe we're going to go out and do a barbecue, do some fishing, do something like that, where everybody in my whole company is going, I'll call him up, say, hey, can you cover the calls for me?
That's awesome. That's
And
absolutely
that,
awesome.
it's not just networking, but it's a trusting relationship.
That's terrific. I mean, business to business, that's the way it should be. We all need to help each other.
Amen.
Well, Scott, thank you. You're going to lead us into our next break. So Cliff will take it from here. We'll be back. Issues and Answers, St. Lucie County.
And I think there's more calls coming in on the other side of the break. 340-1590.
St. James Christian Academy is fully accredited and is now enrolling for fall, preschool through 12th grade, providing students with excellent education in a safe Christian environment for over 17 years. They offer dual enrollment, a BECA curriculum, transportation, affordable aftercare, STEM classes, sports, dance, and karate. St. James Christian Academy is now accepting fall enrollment applications. Plus, ask about their free tuition scholarships. Be a part of the excitement. Schedule a tour today or visit us at stjameschristianacademy.com.
The Republican Party of St. Lucie invites you to meet your Republican candidates on Saturday, August 11th from noon till 4 p.m. at the Port St. Lucie Civic Center. Candidates from the school board to U.S. Congress and in between will be on hand. Come ask questions and get answers. No spin, no fake news, just you and the candidates. Get informed, be informed, vote informed. For more information, go to stluciegop.org. Paid for by the Republican Party of St. Lucie, not connected with any specific candidate.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
And now back to Issues and Answers in St. Lucie County with Mark Gotz.
Thank you, Cliff. Good evening. In case you're just tuning in, I'd like to say that tonight we are proud to have Mike Malady of the Opportunity Network on with us on Issues and Answers. And the phone calls just keep coming in. I think we have Kenny on line too. Kenny, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I have a small business, and it sounds like you guys have a lot of air conditioning business and maybe services like that. But what about something in the legal field? My company is somewhat well established. It's been around for really since 2007. However, I'm just now an opportunity after being a single parent for the last 15 years. Actually more than that, 18 years, raising them on my own. I'm now in an opportunity to where my kids are coming into the business. They're 19 and 21. I'm mentoring them, training them how to do the business. And it's in the legal field in the sense of, it's a process serving company, serving legal documents. Do you have attorneys, paralegals, so forth, things like that to where I can connect to? And also another question, if I can, and then I'll hang up and listen, is what would the benefit, how would I benefit, because I'm in the process of considering running or looking to do the Chamber of Commerce in St. Lucie County. I've been considering doing that. What would the differences be? Would I benefit in joining both, or should I just join one of the groups? Because I like the idea, Mike, that you all are from really my targeted area all the way to the, from Sebastian all the way down to Palm Beach Gardens. My service area goes all the way down to specifically the Boca area, all the way out to Okeechobee and Belle Glade as well. So anyway, how would I benefit with you guys?
You and I know each other, Kenny. I know who you are, and I know what you do. You do a great job, and you and I spoke a little bit about this. The network is not based in any one discipline, so we have all types of businesses, and I told you before, we have a ton of attorneys for you to interact with. I'll be in Palm Beach Gardens on Thursday morning. If you want to come down for breakfast, I'll buy you breakfast. There's probably 46, 48 people in that group there. We meet at 2J's down there, and breakfast is always awesome. So that might be good for you. That would be the outer reaches, but there's all kinds of groups for you. I think you just have to jump in the water and get your feet wet. I wouldn't run to join anything until you get through the 2,000 plus members that we already have, because remember, they don't have to do what you do. They just have to know somebody that you need. So we can get a lot of people involved with you. We love you, buddy.
Yeah, and Kenny, congratulations on raising your children. It's difficult to do, especially as a single father. That's a real plus. We have Larry on line one.
Hello, Larry.
Larry, are you there? Welcome to the show.
So.
You're on a delay. Listen on the phone.
Okay.
Oh, have you got a question for Mike, Larry?
Yeah. I want to know if there's any venues going Opportunity Network for home-based businesses.
Yeah, we're talking to a local municipality. We don't have it sewn up yet, but it would appear that we're going to have a whole gang of home-based businesses attached to us right here on the Treasure Coast. We're going to try to make it inexpensive enough for them to be exciting and expensive enough for us to pay the bills relative to the networking events. So I think we've got a good mix that we're working on. We're talking to like I said, local town. I think it's going to work out. So there could be a whole bunch of stuff for you. And by the way, I know you. You're solar man and you rock. So if somebody needs solar whatever, call Larry. He works. You can get his information right from the Opportunity Network. I love you, bud.
Mike, is there anybody that you don't know in this county? You know, there's only 300,000 people, and I know that you have a very long list of people.
When I walk through Publix, sometimes I do see a few that I don't know.
Yeah. In terms of me and knowing people, I think they haven't been born yet if I don't know them. So we'll see.
And some of them know me, and I can't remember who they are. So.
It's all that work running the brain cells.
Yeah, Larry, you've been around here for a long time, and I appreciate everything that you have done for the community over the years.
Yeah, I've done a few things. Anyway, I'm definitely back behind you, Mark.
I appreciate that, Larry, although I can't discuss that on the air, so
I understand.
FCC regulations.
Unbeknownst to me.
I understand. Actually, that's a good pair on the radio there. I like it. It sounds good.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well,
my dog likes it too. I mean, you probably heard her.
Yeah, maybe we'll bring Mike in every week. I mean, he can be co-host.
You will stoop low for talent. I must add. That's good. What else we got, Mark?
Thank you, Larry.
Later, Larry.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Bye.
Any more calls? No.
Mike, have you got? I know you read one testimonial there. What other feedback have you got from your members? You got anything else that you can share with us?
Well, let me give you this. This is from Christine Rigg at Elder Services. Well, let's do that. Let's do Andrea Anocito. She's with Florida Mortgage, and she's just rocking right now with all the new house sales that are out there. It says, when I started my mortgage company, I was welcomed into the network where I met and built relationships with hundreds of business owners throughout the county. It was through these contacts that I built my business into 100% referral-based business. That means she's not paying for any other advertising, God bless her. In turn, I now have trusted and reliable contacts when my clients need help finding good companies to do work around their homes. I love the network, and I love the relationships. The Opportunity Network has been essential to growing my business. Is that cool? So we just get those every day. It's awesome stuff.
That's a great testimony, especially in today's world where it costs so much to advertise. If you have the ability to do it community-based there with people you know that can continually feed you, I mean, those types of leads are priceless, obviously. We have another call in from Cindy on line 3. Cindy, are you there?
I am here. And I apologize because I happened to catch the tail end of your comments while I was on hold and you were speaking costs. So I don't know if my question has already been answered. But is there a cost to join Opportunity Network?
You sound strangely like my wife. Is this a setup call?
No, but I think this is a very important feature, and that's why everybody loves it so much.
We're pretty much a cost of food organization. You don't pay anything to join, so to speak. We don't bug you and bother you and charge you. We're about you, but in doing the events, we need room space, so there's rent that we have to pay, and sometimes there's a food cost. So to give you an example, when we do Tradition Town Hall, it's a $12 breakfast. God bless those people. I don't think they make any money, but they certainly get some benefits because we help them operate their business also. So life is good. And if you're not my wife, you sure sound like her. Are you cute too?
I'll never tell.
I love Cindy. She's awesome.
Cindy, anything else for Mike while we have him on the air? Because obviously this is your chance to express yourself on the radio.
You want to stop at the grocery store on the way home?
Sure, honey, no problem.
I knew that was coming.
But you know me. I'll forget. You better text me.
Good show, guys. Keep it up.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thanks.
She rocks. She rocks. I don't know what else to do for you guys. There's probably 100 more testimonials, but the important thing is these people are very ecstatic to be with business people that care about their business, and at the same time when they care about someone else's, it's nice. You got a two-way conversation going on, which is probably better than being married. Right, Cindy? She's not on the line.
She's not on the line anymore. So when is your next breakfast? Tell us about that, where it's going to be,
That's a
and
good
when
question.
it's going to be.
I don't know whether I can fit anybody else in, but if you'd like to come to breakfast on Friday, we'll be at Creative Catering. I think that room holds about 90, and we usually fill it up. You can text me at 772-209-2300 or go to the network and try to RSVP. We'll see what we can do for you. I don't want to tease anybody. I just want to make it good for them. If people don't have time to meet each other, it's a problem. If they don't have time to give their individual commercials, it's a problem. So there's a lot of work that goes into it. By Friday at noontime, I'm worn out. So, and this is pretty much all I do. So I'm working your business for you. I'm trying to connect you. That's a freebie. So you'll like.
All right. Well, if it's Friday at Creative Catering, the question is, what time does it start? Because, small businesses many times are sole proprietors, so they don't have all day to lounge around
that's
breakfast.
What we try to get them in there early. We like them in there by 7 a.m., 8 a.m. at the latest, because we'd like to walk out by 9:15. So that's pretty much where we're at. However, you might go back to the same room at 2 hours later, and there are a few people still sitting there hashing out whatever they're going to do together. So it's really kind of cool the way the whole thing works. They just like each other. It's good stuff, especially after this many years. It's a good thing. So
it's interesting. It's a great way to spread your business and find new businesses to interface with you. Again, small businesses usually have a slice of the pie. They can't do everything because they're small. So in many cases, they can work together on different projects to get them to the size that they need to be in order to do those bigger projects. Do you have many bankers that are in this thing?
We have probably 8 banks that regularly come through the rooms, and a couple more that are probably online keeping track of what's going on. A lot of times bankers can't get out of their office when they'd like to, so it's hard for them to traditionally network. It's a tough one. Or if they have a business development manager, they're focused on those networking rooms. So those are the ones that we see.
Speaking about a business manager, or I know that the county now has got a business pilot, and I think the city of Port St. Lucie may also have one.
Navigator.
A navigator. Thank you, Cliff. The business navigators that they have now, have any of them been to any of your breakfasts?
They have.
They have.
They actually have come out, and I've heard tell there's more coming. So they seem to be pretty happy. And I've got to throw this out on the table. This is kind of a funny thing. I'm an ex-chamber guy. I'm only an ex-chamber guy because I don't have time to do all of the things and advertise all the things. Never disliked the chamber environment, but always wanted it to be a little extra, a little simpler for people to work within. So we think we developed a simpler animal, as it were, and it seems to work for people. They like the fact that there's no cost, and you would think we wouldn't get the money people. There's 3 millionaires in my Friday breakfast group, triple millionaires. You go, wow, where did that come from? They're doing really well. They built their business on referrals, so they're really working it that way. And hopefully you heard from some already. But it's really good stuff when it works. So it's exciting for people to find a thing that's good. We don't bash the chamber. We really wish that they were more involved with us. But they have their own thing to run, and everybody's got the pride of authorship. Mm-hmm. So we try not to step on their toes. We just try to dance with them the right way, and hopefully things work out real well. But we like them, they like us, and sometimes we're best off to be separate. So it is what it is. But once again, I think you have to experience the chamber in order to determine whether it's for you or not, whether it's for your business or not. But if you want a partner, I can help with that. We can get you a partner to help you run your business, do your thing.
Super.
Those are hand signals. What do those mean, Cliff?
It means we have 6 minutes to go here.
Well, that's awesome.
And Cliff, you want to join in here?
Well, I didn't want to just jump in and say, hey, you got 6 minutes left.
Well, no, I understand that, but you don't want dead air time on a radio show.
Well, sure, we could sell it to a funeral parlor or something.
Well,
speaking of that, George Saliga over at ACOC is not only one of our members, but he's also a board member with us. We actually set up a board this year.
They're also one of our big supporters of our hometown Sunday morning programming.
There you go. And George would be the last guy to let you down.
Right.
So if you need a friend,
well, actually, he would be the last.
He would be the last guy to let you down, wouldn't he?
Down.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe
so to speak. But George is a fabulous guy. I've met him several times and broken bread with him, and I know he supplied a plaque for the fire district, which I sit on as a commissioner, to Firehouse number 3 was named for, I believe it was Captain Morrison, and George gave us a plaque that's up on that fire station in his memorial, which was something that was, not required on anything like that.
Yeah.
He just came forward and
Goodness
did
of his
that.
heart.
Yes.
Goodness of his heart. And I know the plaque intimately because my company created it.
Mm-hmm.
So George ordered that from us and gifted it to the fire district. It's good when this is great partnering when everybody knows everything. It's all good stuff. It worked. That was one of those good situations where everything worked. So.
That's true. I hope to have Chief Sparrow on the show in the future. Being involved with the fire district for the last 7 years has been an experience that's just hard to believe. People do not understand what our firefighters and first responders do, police and firefighters. They are the mainstay. They are our guardians. They are the ones
Amen.
who keep us in a civil society.
Very
Pick
much
us
like
up-
our veterans.
Just like our
Amen.
veterans.
Amen.
Absolutely. I mean, they pick us up off the ground or scrape us off the
When
ground in
something
many
goes wrong.
cases.
Yeah.
It's a difficult job, and but so many firefighters are just fabulous people.
Life is good because of them.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
It is.
Good stuff.
The guardians allow the merchants, which are the rest of us, to be able to go out and do what we do, whether it's a supply of product or service to the community, and we can do it in a manner that we're not worried about our backs and getting stabbed and robbed and everything else.
But
So
what they do is just as important, because even though they're providing emergency services, we're out there doing a supply and demand with the products and everything, but it all works together. I think we created a buzzword a few years back, synchronicity, about the way everybody works together.
well, the fire district has a saying, "Our family's serving yours," and it can't be any clearer really than that, because it is a family, and I've been very fortunate to be welcomed into the family as part of it over the past 7 years.
Yeah, they like you over there. What's with that?
I have no idea.
They're nice people.
They are.
First.
Yeah, he's the one I'm worried about.
Well, I do aggravate him a little bit because we're going into budgeting right now, as is the city and as the county, and of course I'm always interested in taxpayers because I are one, and I like to make sure that government works efficiently if at all possible. But there are a lot of problems we've had with the expansion of healthcare costs, which is difficult. Pensions, which is throughout this country, is causing substantial problems. I mean, I understand in Chicago, something like 40% of the tax revenue that they bring in goes to pay for pensions. Which means
Is
they
there
have
still a
to,
lot of pork barrel spending going on?
well, this is a lot of promises made many years ago.
Yeah.
And so consequently, as more goes into the pensions, less goes into services. I mean, that's just the way it runs. But until that is broken, we're all headed. We're looking at a snowball coming down the hill, even here in Florida.
It gets bigger and bigger all the way down.
Yes, it does.
Well, that's one of the ways that the network really provides additional services for its members, because all of our members are worried about costs and cost savings and stuff like that.
Does it have a
lot of sharing.
website?
Yep, opnetwork.info, opnetwork.info.
Opnetwork.info.
And you do have to sign in. You don't just hang out and take a look at what goes on. You're actually signed in as a member, and all of your information is listed there so people can actually find you.
Opnetwork.info.
Yeah, it's nothing fancy. It's on the Meetup platform because the price was right, but other than that, everything else comes from word of mouth. And
Okay.
we go by one simple philosophy: handshakes first, and then hugs later.
Hey.
Yeah.
In that order, they're appropriate, yes.
Amen.
I'd like to thank Mike Malady for joining us tonight, and please join us every Monday night from 6 to 7 to address your issues of concern and try and find the answers. Be well.
And remember, opnetwork.info. You've been listening to Issues and Answers in St. Lucie County. This is our second week, and we've had quite a few phone calls today. Looks like it's going to be a good show, a regular show for you every Monday night in the 6 o'clock hour with Mark Gotz and his guests. Issues and Answers in St. Lucie County on WPSL, Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast, webcaster to the world, celebrating 25 years and counting. The time right now is 7 o'clock.